Hello. This week we're going to have to start with something different. We're going to start with an apology. We've had a lot of correspondence recently from people complaining about the tone and content in the show. In particular, I've got a letter here from a Mr. Thomas Hardcastle and a Mr. Gavin Heaton, who've written in to complain about the amount of toilet humour. In particular, they're drawing attention to the end of Series 1, where we had somebody on the toilet while somebody else was in the bath. Well, from now on, we're going to take things serious. Photography is a science. We're only going to concentrate on shutter speed, apertures, ISO, all the important things in photography. So without further ado, I think...
You know what? Enough of that. Welcome to Thumbs Up the Photography Show. Here's what we've got going on today.
Crikey. Well, Steve points out the obvious. Dave plays with his toy. Naughty boy. We enjoy some amazing conditions in the Lake District. And Martin gets down on one knee for our special guest. But before all that, cue the music. Prepare yourself, viewers, for some photographic envy.
Well, something a little bit different this week. We've come down to the Forest of Dean and we've met up with none other than the amazing photographer, Courtney Victoria. Courtney has very, very kindly agreed to meet us here and show us about her process when it comes to photographing in the woodland, specifically fungi photography. Walking down here, just 5 minutes from the car, she's already been on the prowl and she's already been picking up stuff and having a look at some amazing photography opportunities. So come along and see how she goes about it. I love woodlands like this where you've got, you know, lots of real nice characterful trees, but the one thing I really struggle with is areas like standard pine trees, just straight lines that just doesn't do anything for me at all.
No, it's difficult to find those extra special scenes when everything's quite sort of uniform and nothing really stands out, which is why I started to gravitate towards macro photography, because you can literally do macro photography absolutely anywhere and everywhere. It doesn't matter the location, the conditions, you will always find something tiny to photograph. What
do you think about the time of the year though? Does that kind of impact on how you go about your macro photography?
Absolutely. It depends what subject matter you're looking for. This time of year, you've got a lot of things falling off the trees, like acorns and berries. And with the weather, the wet, damp weather, you have fungi growing as well. And autumn is fungi season. So it's the perfect time of year to go out and look for those kinds of subjects.
And, you know, we have a little walk around the woodland here this morning. Is there anything that's really caught your eye?
Oh, there are mushrooms absolutely everywhere. So I'm constantly stopping and, oh, look at this, oh, look at this. And I find it difficult, almost difficult to get my camera out because I'm so sort of trapped within the sort of hunting, playing hide and seek, I call it, with mushrooms, that I forget that I'm actually here to do photography.
Well, we have noticed, I mean, just walking down here with yourself, it's obviously only 5 minutes away from the car, but it's almost walking around like it's a real life vlog with Courtney. Watching you go around, when you're hunting sort of around, just picking things up, and it's amazing to see.
Yeah, there's fascinating subjects absolutely everywhere. You really don't have to walk far at all. We could probably just stand right here and sort of make a little square and search this area, and we'd probably find multiple things that we could photograph. So
tell me a bit about, you know, the gear that you use for your macro photography.
So I mainly use my Nikon D850. I have an OM system as well now, which focus brackets extremely quickly, which is handy. I usually have a tripod for stability. Stability is very important for macro photography because, of course, everything you're working with larger magnifications, and so your subject is larger, but that also means that vibration and movement is also magnified. So stability is incredibly important. So a tripod. And on a day like today, where it's quite overcast, it's dull, I may bring some lighting with me as well to help me expose a subject.
And what kind of lighting do you use?
I use portable small LED lights. They're really easy to just sort of pop in a bag.
Just standard sort of RGB ones, just under lighting and stuff.
Just standard sort of, RGB video lights. And Yeah, they're incredibly useful. A lot of people are hesitant about artificial light because they think it creates sort of awkward, harsh-looking photos, but actually you can create natural light-looking images with artificial light.
Do you ever use anything like reflectors and stuff as well?
Yes, a reflector. I usually have a small reflector in my bag. Again, that's an alternative if you don't have artificial light. If you don't want to use artificial light, it just bounces natural light that you have onto your subject, fills in shadows.
And you talked about focus bracketing. I mean, I've only ever done macro photography once or twice, and I really struggled with focus bracketing when I got back into post. Tell me a little bit about your process.
So I focus bracket because I like to capture as much detail and depth within a subject as much as possible. With macro photography, your depth of field is very, very shallow. So if you do single shot images, there are ways that you can try and get more in focus, but you kind of end up compensating in other ways. For example, you can use a narrower aperture, but if you start using, you may bring more background into your scene, and then you sort of lose that soft out of focus background that everybody.
It's really dreamy, doesn't it?
So there's always a con in there. So I bracket so that I can have that out of focus background, that shallow depth of field, but also get a lot of detail in. And it's a slow process. Some cameras, modern cameras, will automated focus bracket for you, so it's much faster. You can just sort of program it in camera and it will take a series of images for you, moving the plane of focus through the scene or the subject, and then you simply, in post-processing, using dedicated macro software, sort of squeeze all those photos together into one.
What macro sort of post bracketing software would you
I use Helicon Focus, which is a simple software to use. It's not overly complicated, but there are more advanced softwares like Zareen Stacker, I think it's called, which can do a bit more. So it can auto-align a stack of images at the same time as stacking them together.
One of the things I struggled with when I was trying to do the focus bracketing before is I don't think I took enough shots to make a nice clean sort of focus stack, because the Sony I'm using doesn't have any sort of automated features. It's constantly having to manually adjust and take, manually adjust, take, and so on and so forth. And I found when I got back into post and then tried to bring it all together, it was almost like the focus stack just wasn't quite right, and I had to kind of fill in bits. And I think also focus breathing was a bit of an issue as well.
Yes. So I take more than I need in terms of images, whether I'm manually bracketing like yourself or using the automated. I always start my stack a little before the subject. So I've got a few extra images in front, which you can just delete in post. And then I sort of go just slightly beyond the subject as well to make sure I have enough in. And then in post-processing, I can decide, do I want all of them in? Do I want half of the subject in focus? And you can play around there with the depth.
So as we've been walking down, obviously I've been noticing you've been doing your thing. You've been sort of foraging around, picking stuff up and having a look at different fungi. You've got something in your hands, Dave. You want to tell us a little bit about it?
So I absolutely love these kind of bonnet mushrooms that grow on dead branches and tree trunks. I find them incredibly sort of ethereal, fairy-like.
Yep.
And within my macro photography, I like to find subjects that look sort of magical, the little scenes that you don't see every day. And it's absolutely fascinating sort of watching them grow. And these are a bit smushed here, but yeah, it's amazing the places that they grow. And fungi will literally grow anywhere that's rotting, anything that's damp, especially this time of year. And if you're lucky, you can get something that you're able to sort of pick up and move and then place somewhere it's slightly easier to photograph them.
I mean, you can pick that up and move it into somewhere that there's maybe a bit better light. Or...
Yes, absolutely. Because again, with photography in general, light is incredibly important. And it's, you know, especially a location like this where underneath the trees, it can get incredibly dark. And it's, I feel like it's a shame if you don't illuminate the subjects. And yeah, I mean, there are many ways that you can approach fungi photography. You can do it with a sort of documentation style of, okay, this is the type of fungus that I have found, or you can get creative, use your imagination and convey a feeling such as, you know, this is something magical through using composition, lighting and other tools and techniques.
And that's what I get from looking at your fungi photos. I would say, you know, from an outsider's perspective, it seems like you're going for more sort of that sort of creative direction, that sort of evoking a sort of feeling from the images that you take. rather than documentary style.
Absolutely. I love finding characters, little stories and emotions in my subjects, and sort of, I'm a big fantasy book reader and movie watcher. And so I love that sort of bordering on sort of the everyday, but also just slightly sort of magical.
Yeah.
And so I like coming to everyday places where people just walk through, walk their dogs, go for a walk, take their cameras out, but capture something that is just slightly more than the ordinary, I guess.
I think most, 99% of people will probably walk past that, wouldn't
Yes.
even take a look.
Yeah, it's taken a lot of training to be able to spot these things. And to begin with, I probably walked past this kind of thing for a very long time. But in consciously looking around the parts of the forest that you would just walk past if you're doing woodland or landscape photography, you probably wouldn't notice all these rotting bits of branches or trees or leaves on the floor. But taking time to notice these things, you then sort of train yourself to see them and then know where you may find them in the future as well. And now I can't walk past a dead bit of tree without having to pick it up and have a look at it.
I think it's the same thing. From a sort of different perspective, when you become a photographer, I don't know about if you do this yourself, but you'll be driving down the road and you'll see a bit of light, and the amount of times I've nearly gone into the back of something because I'm like, oh, light!
Looking out the window, yeah, absolutely.
You just can't help yourself, can you?
This is the same thing when you dive into macro photography and you start to notice all the tiny little textures and details. You don't stop. And I used to do a lot of walking. I would walk really for hours in my landscape photography, and now I can't walk 5 minutes through the forest without having to stop and spend sort of an hour in a spot just looking at things.
I think it's very important, obviously, from a woodland photographer's perspective, and obviously yourself. You're a fantastic woodland photographer as well, and obviously amazing fungi photographer. The importance of slowing down when you come to somewhere like this. I don't know about, obviously you mentioned you can only walk 5 minutes and you've probably found about, I don't know, 10 different shots.
Mm-hmm.
It's the importance of slowing down is really key.
Absolutely. Yeah, a slow approach, I would say, especially for macro photography, but woodland photography as well, is incredibly useful, and I think it's necessary. You need to allow yourself time to see beyond the obvious, what you initially see. And then I say that it's sort of connecting with the subject as well. Why are you photographing it? What are you drawn to specifically, and how can you highlight that and bring that out in your photo? I think all these little steps before you even get the camera out necessarily makes a big impact on the final image.
So we were talking earlier about how you actually light your fungi photos. Can you tell us a bit more about how you actually go about it?
You know what? It's probably easier if I show you.
Well, for me, that was super interesting. Stay tuned, because later in the show, Courtney shows Martin how to actually get to grips with the macro photography. But for now, we're going to jump over to Steve. He's going to be taking some fine art photography of a boat wreck. And I love a boat wreck, and that subject really lends itself to that style of photography. So let's see what Steve's been up to this week.
Welcome to another one-shot wonder. In this section, I'm going to get one shot. I'm at Pin Mill, just one shot, fine art, remove everything. Remove the estuary background, all the boats, the mess in the foreground, as much as I possibly can. Make it a nice fine art shot of the two main boats at Pin Mill. One of the main things is to get separation between the messy bits, the horizon, for example, a little bit of a gap in between the boats, and any mess either side, so I can easily remove them in Lightroom or Photoshop. So the water's coming up quite nicely. I can start taking images. The biggest problem I will have today is there's a lot of mess in front of the boats. Now I've either got to try and clone them out or just leave them in. But the important thing is to have separation here and see where the horizon is here and there. So it's easy to remove in Photoshop. It's blue sky day. I'll probably put a grad on in Lightroom, darken top and bottom, etc. So it focuses your eye on the boats. I'm at around 20-second exposure. What you got to watch is if you go any more, things start to move, the tripod starts to sink. The boats can potentially move, the big boats. I know they used to. When I've been here before, the boats move. So long exposures, you've got to watch what you're doing. The tripod will be in the water at some point. So that just that water lipping up it could sink it into the mud as well. So I've chose for around 25 seconds. Probably wouldn't go any more than 30-second exposure. Again, it depends on the weather. If it's windy, you might have problems as well. So there's my one shot today. And then we'll hand you over to one of the other guys. If you're looking for some great image editing software, try DxO Photolab 9. Link in the description below and use the code THUMBSUP15 for 15% off.
Nothing personal, just not my type.
Just good.
I know this because behind you it's... Is it me now?
Photo Fums, Photo Fums. We always said they could go far. Photo Thumbs, Photo Thumbs. Why the shambles they really are.
Well, none of us are sure what's happening now, so let's just go with it and breathe.
God, Misty Woodland's ball picture was absolutely fantastic. So amazing. I absolutely love ball pictures. Did you know what I'd really like to do?
What would you really like to do? Oh, I wish I could fly up to the sky, but I can't. You can. I can't. You can. What you need is a drone. Oh, drones are absolutely fantastic. I know, Mr. David's got one. Let's go see what he's up to. It's going to be fantastic. Yeah.
Photo Thumbs, Photo Thumbs.
Is anyone else questioning their life decisions right now?
Good evening and welcome to my little bit of the show, and I'm back in London. You may have seen me here before, but one thing I've never ever done in London is use one of these guys, because everywhere is prohibited. You've got the City of London Airport, helicopter rides going down. So actually flying a drone in London, even if the drone is under 250 grams, which this isn't, you just can't do it. Apart from this little bit we're on here now. Now Sean Mills, Mersey Millsy, has been really kind enough to ring me and say, Dave, I found a place that we can fly from. We've checked out the DJI restricted list, we've checked out all of the permissions, and you can fly a drone from here over the Thames, which is great because we've got the view you can see behind me of the Shard and Tower Bridge, and then this way behind you is Canary Wharf. We've come down just before sunset, and the plan is to get the drone up and shoot both of those pictures. I'm going to do a panoramic one way, I'm going to do a panoramic the other way. I'm going to do maybe a sunset shot and maybe also a shot which is like the blue hour. So a bit of time to kill, but absolutely fantastic. Really looking forward to shooting this. So hopefully all will be well. Right, let's get everything set up and I'll talk to you again when the drone is in the air.
I'm feeling a tad anxious. Not sure why.
So we're up in the air. You can see I'm 113 metres up, looking back to Canary Wharf, and if we turn the drone round, we scan over London, and basically as long as you keep the drone over the River Thames from this location, all is good. Just going to go back this way, and here comes the Shard. Just tip the camera up, and that's quite nice. So this is 3 times zoom using the telephoto. Just going to touch on the Shard to make sure it's in focus. Could do with a lovely blazing sunset behind, but unfortunately we haven't got one. So I'm just going to pull this out and actually zoom in by just using the screen there. And that is probably the shot. So I've got the drone in sight, I can see where it is. Move her across. I'm still over the Thames, just about there. There's Sean's, I can just see Sean's moving across there now. So of where each other are in the sky as well, which is very important. Both of these drones have got a system whereby if you're flying the helicopter, you know that we have a drone in the air. There we go, so that looks quite cool. I'm going to land this now because I want to save a bit of battery. So just put a bit of video on just so I can show you this and use this as a bit of B-roll at some other point. But there we go, this is what we're looking at. What a fantastic opportunity it is, and you can imagine what this is like with a blazing sunset.
Heck yes.
But it looks immense. Right, let's land the drone and we'll get ready to go up again. Right, first picture's recorded, first bit of video. Just hoping for the light now, and what's going to happen soon is the shard and all the buildings around it are going to light up, so blue hour might work really well with this. Certainly with Canary Wharf in the distance, it's going to look great. Another waiting game.
Oh, I hate waiting. But this is a cracking location. And as the light lowers, the anticipation builds. Come on. Oh, this is a classic. One of those ones you see in the guidebooks.
Have you ever wondered just how good you'd look in some Thumbs Up merchandise? Why not head over to the Thumbs Up merchandise store? We've got hats, t-shirts, fleeces. We've even got mugs so that you can enjoy your favourite brew. Each drop is for a limited time only, so you need to act fast if you want to get your favourite designs. There's a link in the description.
So hopefully you can see we're now lit up. Blue hour is officially here, and this is when I think it's going to look at its best. So last flight, going to do a pan, going to shoot Canary Wharf. Here come the images. Back to the guys, wherever they may be. So if you'd like to learn more about how I process my images, why not check out our members area? There's a link in the description below.
Well, I think you'll agree that was some fairly fancy flying from Dave and some amazing drone shots of London. I could definitely learn a thing or two from him. Somebody else I could learn from, Courtney Victoria, and right now we're going to head back to the woods where she's going to show Martin exactly how she gets those macro shots.
So what's this you found here?
So here I have found a little cluster, a family of fungi, and I am just framing up an image now. So I found this on this branch that I've been able to pick up and move into an easier space where I can set up and explore it without so much sort of grass and leaves impacting the view.
That definitely makes a lot of sense. So you do that quite often. You'll find something actually growing out of obviously a dead piece of log here, and you move that to a position that's a lot easier to sort of frame off.
It just makes life a little bit easier than sort of trying to move grass and that sort of thing. It's important to make sure that I leave the forest exactly as I find it, so I really don't want to have to be pulling up grass or ferns or anything in order to get a clean view of a subject. You find that things like that can create distracting elements, and you want your eye to go straight to this little cluster here.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm aiming for. So in being able to pick it up if I can and just pop it somewhere else just makes it a bit easier.
Yeah.
Sorry, try not to bash you with a tripod leg.
quite like to see a nice, well-used looking tripod.
I kill tripods. I have to replace them every couple of years because I use them so much. This, when it's not my macro tripod, it's my filming tripod. And this is an aluminium version.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It's not too heavy, but I had a carbon fibre version before this.
And I have noticed that you've actually put obviously the centre column upside down, so that means your camera's going to be upside down.
Yes. Which initially, when you first work upside down, it's a bit, it takes you a moment to sort of figure out where all your buttons are. It's a bit disorientating, but the more that you do it, it becomes muscle memory really, doesn't it? As to where all the buttons and things are.
Yeah, see, that would completely mess with my head.
Yes, the first few times I did it, it was a slow process, figuring out where everything was. But now it's, as I said, it's muscle memory, it's habit. It's not a problem at all.
So talk us through the settings you've got for this photo.
So in terms of settings, I generally keep my ISO as low as possible, but I'm not afraid to increase that if I need to. Shutter speed, because my subject is not moving, I can get away with slow shutter speeds. Again, that really doesn't tend to matter. So aperture is the thing that I think about most. And for this image here, I'm looking at the rings of bokeh in the background and I'm changing my aperture. And with a narrower aperture, they become much smaller, much more pronounced. And so for a softer look, I'm going slightly wider. So I'm going more sort of f5, f5.6 looks good here. And because I'm focus bracketing, it doesn't really matter in terms of what's in focus of the fungi, because as I bracket, I'll get all of it in focus anyway. If I was taking a single image, then I would probably sacrifice the bokeh in the background and go for something more sort of f8 to f11 in order to get more detail in the fungi. We've got a bit of shadow underneath the cap, the gills there and the stem. So for a natural light image, I would use a reflector.
Oh, cool.
And I would just sort of pop that in front and it will just shine a bit of natural light down.
Can I have a quick look at that?
Bounce it onto
so how much
the
of a
stem.
difference does it actually make? So if I take that away and introduce it. Yeah.
Sometimes it's just a very, very subtle difference. But it's a subtle difference that makes a big difference and it just reveals some more of that detail.
So if you find that that's not enough light, what do you then?
I bring in portable LED lights. Sometimes I do this if there's not enough light just to help me out, but other times I like to just get creative with angles and colour and just see what else I can do on top of the natural image that I've already taken. So I'll get a portable LED light and just kind of move it around the subject and see how the light changes and sort of figure out what kind of angle I would like to pop it at.
That's making a huge difference.
And and for this particular scene, side light here I think looks pretty nice, and it's slightly warm light as well, so it's warming the image up. And to go along with that sort of family theme of this little family, the caps of the fungi are quite sort of cool and don't really have a lot of colour to them, so I think a white light might make them a bit too stark. So I think a warmer tone here just brings out a very slight sort of creamy colour in them. So yeah, it depends. It's a lot of experimentation on scene, sort of taking the time to see, okay, what does this look like if I do this? What does it look like if I do that instead? And just see what you can come up with really. And you can get as creative as you want to.
So you were telling us about, obviously when you take these shots, about your focus stacking technique. Could you tell us a bit more about that?
Yes, so focus bracketing is the technique of taking multiple images where the planar focus moves throughout the subject, and then focus stacking is the post-processing technique of putting all of those images together to create one image. This is a technique that I prefer to use. It's not necessary, and it's a technique that takes a little bit of practice to get it down, but essentially what I do is I manually focus the camera just slightly before my subject, and on my camera here I can automated focus stacking, so it's a little easier. Manually you would simply take a photo, move the focus rings very slightly, take another photo and work your way from the front of your subject all the way through. Automated focus bracketing, the camera simply does it for you. You set your starting point, you set how many images you would like to take, and then you get it going, and it will run through until either the lens has hit infinity focus or it has taken the amount of images that you have programmed.
How many files do you typically end up with when you take a shot like this?
This is where it gets a little more complex. There's no simple answer. It depends on your aperture, it depends on the magnification that you're working at, it depends how close you are to your subject. So the closer that you're working to your subject and the wider your aperture is, the more images you're going to need to take, the higher the magnification. So 1 by 1 is true macro photography. If you're working at 2 times magnification, you are going to be taking more images than you would do at 1 times magnification. So there are a few factors involved. When it comes to manual stacking, I just sort of keep turning and taking photos until I feel as though I'm done. In terms of automated, most macro photographers will simply set the camera up to 100 images and either delete the ones they don't need, or the camera will stop when it hits infinity focus.
So I think my PC would probably fall over if I suddenly loaded 100 photos into it to ask it to stack them.
Yes. And
are there any useful guides that you could recommend for taking on sort of, for a beginner's guide for how to focus stack?
Yes, there's plenty of information online, essentially, is how I learned. But I also did write my own how to focus bracket and how to stack guide ebook as well, which goes through as much technical detail as possible in an easy to follow, simple way for people to also learn as well.
Oh, that's fantastic. We'll put a link for that in the description below. Go and check it out. So thank you so much for showing that. That's absolutely amazing how you can take something that looks, lovely but quite ordinary to the eye from here into something that looks otherworldly and just absolutely fascinating on the back of the camera there. Incredible. So what we'll do is we'll put this photo on screen and some other examples that Courtney's taken using different lighting techniques. Sit back and enjoy. So I really hope you've enjoyed the little slideshow of some incredible images that Courtney's taken. And I must say, I've had a fantastic morning. I've really thoroughly enjoyed coming down here and coming into your little world of fungi photography. It's just absolutely fascinating. So much so, I think I'm going to have to get myself a macro lens.
I look forward to seeing that.
And just on that, if you want to go and see more fungi photography, please do go and check out Courtney's channel. She's got some amazing content, not just fungi. I think you do obviously, other landscapes as well, woodland. I think you've just come back from Iceland where you hosted the workshop.
Yep.
So yeah, do go and check out Courtney's content. It's absolutely amazing.
Now I think it's time to hand you back to the other guys.
Well, I'd just like to thank Courtney for being our very special guest this week. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Those images, absolutely stunning. But talking of stunning images, I've got here a copy of Thumbs Up Photography's Thumbs Up Thursdays Volume 1. Now this book contains 52 images taken by members of the Thumbs Up community. And if you'd like to get yourself a copy, or perhaps you'd like to know how you can get your image into Volume 2 coming later this year, head over to thumbsup.photography/Thumbs Up Thursdays. But don't do it just yet, wait till after the show, because right now we've got a quick trip to the Lake District, Manesty Woods, on a beautiful misty morning.
Let me introduce you to Taylor, a beauty. I mean, come on. Perfect coat, gleaming eyes, And that's just Steve. I have a feeling that I'm going to get shot envy during this section. Every time the lads get together, it causes me to be, well, proper jealous. Cracking location, gorgeous colours, and mist to boot. Lovely. Good Lord, what the heck is that? Well, you're not going to lose Dave in all that fog. If he had a sponsorship deal for that kit, I wonder if he'd make any money. Admittedly, from the waist up it's not too bad, and the bag trouser combo, well, it doesn't seem to have affected his photography that much. Yeah, that'll do. And there's a moment when I thought Gary had got in on the act. Nice. Very nice. Oh, don't you start on it. It's like you've phoned each other up and you coordinated your outfits. Mind you, I can't moan. I've seen the quality of your work, chaps. Crack on.
Personally, I'm loving this. This is great. Seeing pictures quite a few places, so it's just a question of stopping the shooting.
Such perfect conditions. I'm quite looking forward to seeing what they're all going to get. Come on, Steve. Start us off, mate.
So as you probably know, the Thumbs Up are at Manesty Woods in the Lake District. We're literally all here, and I thought I'd do my bit, so I'm going to do my bit. But it's something I wouldn't normally shoot, and it's of the little bit of boardwalk. There's a gate, and we've got this lovely scene behind. We've got the mist and the fog right in the background.
Well, sadly, that's all we've got time for this week. So I'd just like to thank Courtney once again for being our special guest. I'd also like to thank you guys for watching. And if you're new here, why not consider liking and subscribing? If you'd like to know more about what Thumbs Up has to offer, jump over to our website. It's easy to remember, thumbsup.photography. There you'll find everything you need to know about our social presence, our competitions and our members area. So until next week, goodbye.
Next time, Steve takes us on a commercial photography extravaganza. Some gorgeous girl takes you to France and shows you a secret staircase. Contain your excitement. Martin reveals his fetish for sticks, and we share with you a heady combination of a cloud inversion and a man with an exotic beard. Gary gets his hands on one of Dave's very special sausages. Lucky boy. Not sure it agrees with him though. Until next time, ciao bellos. Ciao.